Shiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramo. Om Shanti 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 Om. So Namaste, welcome to our Q&A Satsang. So Q&A means to say question and answers, or answers any questions. So let's see if we have any questions to begin with. Any contributions from you guys? If nobody has a question, we can just play. I somehow was sensing that there was no question, so I brought a book here. I can open somewhere and we can play with it. Mark, you have your arms raised like that. You want to ask 2 questions?
No.
Oh,
My arms aren't raised.
Your picture was frozen like that, you know?
Maybe the picture is frozen.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
Arlindo, I had one request for a recommendation.
Yeah.
Been reading Dayananda's prayer guide, and I'm really a rationalist, not too emotional or anything. But I think it might benefit me to have something to say in the morning to set the day for karma yoga and the 4Ds. And I wonder if you have any recommendation or anything to say about prayer for a disciple.
Yeah, I mean, we can look in terms of mantras or prayers. Or do you have the prayer of every time you drink or eat something that you just do the prayer, our prayer, saying that everything, it's based on the chapter, I don't remember, 4 or 7, I don't remember, of the Gita. It's all about, thank you, Lord, and the food here, it's you, and the fire that cooked the food is you, it's offered by you, through you, and it's very beautiful. I can send that to you, because that covers breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or every time we have a snack, we just remember that everything is Ishwara, and the food we receive every day is Ishwara, it was prepared by Ishwara, in the fire of Ishwara, and so on. It's because, as we know, without the Lord and all the factors in creation, nothing comes to us. So what comes to us in terms of nutrition to this body comes because of Ishwara, from Ishwara, this beautiful creation with all the elements that are required for our sustenance. So to remember that again and again is very powerful. So I do that on my 3 meals. Another beautiful exercise, Lynn, is in the morning when we get up. When sometimes I forget it, but when I open my eyes, it's very nice to give thanks for the opportunity of another day. My body was still breathing, and I'm still alive. My eyes are open. I'm seeing the room, and I say, "Okay, Lord, thank you. One more day. So let this day unfold according to my Prarabdha karma, and I offer you my actions as gratitude, in reverence and thankfulness to you." We need to begin developing this vision that our life is just Ishwara. It's everything is the Lord, So the very fabric of this meteor is Ishwara. And then we understand that, and then we start bring God into the account. and then we see that it's all Ishvara, you know. And then we begin giving thanks, and we begin, you know, giving our actions in the spirit of devotion and contribution to Ishvara as the field. You understand? So if we worship from that platform, which is the spirit of the Karma Yogi, our life becomes a prayer. You understand? It becomes again and again thankfulness. Thank you, Lord. Thank you. Here is my action. There is my action, you know. So I'm going to send you that prayer. If you want, I can come up with some mantras. But if you do some research, and Dayananda, he's very rich on those things, you may find some nice prayers. I mean, I'm going to send you a prayer, a beautiful prayer from Paramarthananda that has circulated in my Vedanta Brazil group. That is a beautiful one. I will send you. Actually, I will send in an email to all of you. There are some nice prayers, you understand, that helps us to remain anchored in this understanding, this vision that life is a gift. And what is the gift? The gift is the opportunity for our spiritual elevation, you know. It's all about that, even if sometimes it feels like, oh, it's tough, it's not good, you know, and it's so much challenge and cries and COVID and whatnot. So it still is an opportunity for us to grow, to receive the Prarabdha karma and grow with it, you know, and know how to respond and go about living our life, keeping that perspective in mind. So this is the spirit of the Karma Yoga is the one that develops this vision about the field, the Dharma field, as the embodiment of Ishvara. Ishvara is the intelligent cause, you know. But Ishvara, when it projects it due to Vikshepa, you know, or Rajas, it projects the universe. It becomes the universe, because Ishvara is not separate from the universe. You understand? So we begin seeing Ishvara in this manifest universe, this beautifully, intelligently designed. So we need to by and by, and this exercise, this mantra, these prayers helps us to develop this vision, you know, this understanding, so that this Karma Yoga knowledge does not stop only on the rational side of it, only on the, you know, the intellectual side, because Karma is understanding of these laws, understanding, you know, to what degree I can influence my destiny with my action and so on. Understand that the results are not under my control and so on. So all of this understand about these karmic laws and dharma and so on, they are part of the rational side of Karma Yoga, which is called karma. Yoga is these attitudes that we develop in reference to our life in the field and our interaction with the field. And this is an attitude of gratitude, of love, of contribution, of devotion, of worship, of seeing God. You know, I mean, the greatest souls of our times are the souls that develop this vision, you know, this vision that brings about this love for this creation, because you are loving God, you are loving Ishvara, you know. So we have to remember that Vedanta is not only about being intellectual, clear about, oh no, Ishvara, you know, Ishvara is Mithya and Jiva is Mithya and Jagat is Mithya and I am Brahman, I mean, we live in Mithya, and the manifestation or fructification of this self-knowledge has to include Mithya, because it is in Mithya that we're gonna enjoy or suffer our human experience, you understand? And we are going to enjoy only to the degree that we appreciate this apparent reality, because it's all God, you understand? So we need to know that this yoga side of Karma Yoga is this devotional appreciation, this love that it needs to develop, because it also helps to keep the ego of the sadhaka of the inquirer, under control. Because if we don't bring, and then the thinker say, oh, I'm Brahman. But if we bring Ishvara and then we just position ourselves as jivas below Ishvara, we develop humility, we become humble, we understand our limitations as jiva, and we give thanks to the Lord on a daily basis. Because even our great Mahatmas, they do so. Because they understood Satya and Mitya, and they don't mix both together, they don't make confusions about them. It's not that we have to throw Mitya and God and everything. So that's not the way that this knowledge fully manifests as moksha, freedom. Moksha is for the jiva. Brahman is already free. The jiva is the ones to enjoy this freedom. And this freedom requires this proper relationship between jiva, Ishvara, and Jagat, and the world, because Jagat is Ishvara manifested as the world, Oh, excuse me just for a moment. Mm-hmm. So I will put something together on those lines and send to all of you.
But I was wondering if I have it in the structure of my day. I'm thinking about ways to get away from that mechanical thinking.
Right.
Yeah, and be more deliberate. And I thought that prayer would be good for that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Mantras and prayers, and they have great help to help us to develop this kind of mental emotional attitude towards life, by understanding that life is God. So definitely mantras, and especially for those of us that have a lot of actions. So we need to take advantage of a lot of actions. We have opportunities for a lot of actions. We want these actions to work on our side, on our favor, meaning to say, I want actions to be part of my sadhana. I want to grow through my actions, and that we grow through the actions only when we understand that our actions have to be dedicated to Ishvara as the field. It has to be a contributing action and so on, So it's very, very nice, very important, Karma Yoga. It's the key, That's what Ranjit says again and again, The relationship between Ishvara and Jiva is the key for self-knowledge and moksha, because it naturally it produces mental purification, mental refinement, the knowledge plus the attitude that grows.
Lindo, can I ask you something?
Please.
I was thinking about when you have an issue in your life, right? Either something good or bad, doesn't matter. Then you get all this emotional, unstable and everything. And then if you think about all the teaching, you right away go like, okay, that's just a projection, and you get a little bit more calm. But still, what or how you do, or to analyze that issue, you need a certain peace on your mind, right?
Yeah.
On this
Very
moment,
well.
you
Very
don't
good.
have this on your mind.
Yeah.
And even though you know it's a projection, and you know that everything's going to be fine, you have sometimes to take decisions, and at least me, maybe I'm too new, I don't know, I have like no control of, like, I kind of get numb, my brain get numb, and I cannot even think to get the right decision, to make the right decision, or what, you understand what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
just practicing, or there is some trick in there, or what do you have to do to get this, like the calm brain and take a decision?
Yeah. So the brain is just matter. So it's better you think, you understand your mind as subtle body, and less as a brain. Okay, the brain is just like the arm. It's just a mechanical function, you know. So what you said at the beginning of your question is correct. So when we are mentally, emotionally disturbed, we should never make any decision. We should hold. You understand? And especially if the stress is coming within a relationship with another person, because it's the most common thing is stress coming when we go into argument with the other person, you know. So if it's coming by an argumentation like that, so and the mind start going like that, we need to stop, because if we go there, we're gonna lose more and more. We're gonna lose our emotional balance and our clarity of mind, and then we're gonna say inappropriate things. We're gonna make a mess. So we need to somehow stop and say, hey, I'm sorry, I'm not in the condition to carry on this conversation right now. I need to step back and calm down because I kind of losing it, and I don't want to project things on you. I don't want to put things on you, and I don't want to point the finger to you, you know. So I don't want to blame and complain about you. So therefore, give me some time. And then when we calm down, and then we can revisit the situation from a much more clarity, you know, mental clarity is much, because you have time to go back, and then you see how things were developed, and then you look, and then you come back with a better understanding, and then you try to work things out. I don't know if your stress was, you are meaning like a stress coming from a relationship with people, your inner stress, or what?
Well, actually both. I that was really good, the answer. It makes totally sense to me. And but also, like, for example, you get some bad news, a disease or whatever, or somebody from your family, something happened, or even something good, something really good happens, and then you get like over hype, and sometimes you have to make decisions, or maybe not even make decisions, but deal with the whole situation.
Yeah.
And to me, it's really difficult because like I just explode and I cannot even think clear, and
Yeah. So you are getting the proper understanding, because you know that every time that your mind is overstressed because of fear, or because of excitement, because things are favorable or things are very much unfavorable, adverse, crisis, difficulties. So every time we go like that, so the best thing we can do is just to breathe, we stop breathing, we come down, close your eyes, and then bring your mind back to your Vedanta books. You understand? There is no other way. Bring your mind back to the audios of the classes, or the videos, or the books. You understand? So go back. So until these teachings are alive in your mind, as I often say, when they are alive in your mind, you can call them force. You just bring them up, and then I say, okay, I have the teachings are already properly alive in my mind. So I bring them up, and then I say, okay, so calm down, mind. You are Brahman. Everything is God. I just need to follow my nature, and then follow the situational dharma here. I have to see the other as Ishvara appearing as another jiva, I need to understand that I cannot gain anything from anybody. I cannot lose anything as Brahman as well. So you need to just, have those things, those thoughts, those logics in your mind, so that you can regain balance quickly, you know. The whole process of self-knowledge is you develop this knowledge that when life hits you, you recover quickly. It's not the yoni does not get hit and does not lose its balance sometime. But if you have this knowledge very much alive, so you regain your posture again and again, you know, you regroup or recompose, you're just there, and then, you know, and then it goes over quickly. So as opposed to something hits me and then I go into a crisis, a very deep crisis, and I take half day or 1 day to come out, you know. With the yoni, if something hits the yoni, he or she recovers very quickly. Why? Because this knowledge is alive. If we don't have this knowledge alive, so we need to run to the books, run to the audio, run to the videos, you know, because we need this knowledge that's going to fix, you know, to correct our attitude and our thoughts in relation to the happenings, you know, the situation, the circumstance of the field. I need to understand the field as it is, you know, all these bits and pieces of knowledge. So I know in meteor here that, you know, I cannot really get anything from anybody, from anything. All objects here, they have a certain value, utilitarian value, but it's not that they are really, you know, and I have no control. The only control I have is on my thinking process, my mental process, you know. I can work on my mental setup, but the setup of the field of the situation, you know, I have no control. All these teachings, they have somehow to be alive, so that you can somehow minimize those impacts that come from the field. You understand? So when you are mentally agitated, so you know that you need to go back to the knowledge. You do whatever you can. Open your books, or you know, until this knowledge is alive, and then you just call them, and then again you regain your self-knowledge posture, you know, and then you have this kind of equanimity in regards to the events, you know. So it's more or less like that. It is a process, and it does not happen overnight. Self-knowledge takes time to be properly assimilated and established in one's mind in a way that one develops this kind of emotional balance in reference to the adversities of life, and not only, as you pointed out, also mental balance against those super, you know, exciting moments of success or favorable circumstances and so on, that we get so overexcited. So no, you want to find somehow a balance, a kind of equanimity in regards to your Parabodha Karma. You know, that is called Shanti, peace. And it takes some time until we develop that. We begin developing this intellectual self-knowledge until it's clear. And then from there, we start developing what Swami Paramarthananda likes to put as the mental, emotional self-knowledge. You know, when this knowledge, it serves the purpose to protect you emotionally. Because we experience the world through our mind. The mind is the one who feels, you know, the experience. You know, it's through the mind that we have access to the world. We receive the stimulus through the mind, and the self-knowledge has to come from the intellect down. I mean, if you remember our chart, the one designed by James Watt. So we have the intellect, the mind, and the ego. So the intellect, the knowledge from the intellect has to somehow pervade the ego and the mind, so that we can be a good receiver of the impacts, and we can be a good doer, you know, a good karta, the doer, and bhokta, the receiver of whatsoever life brings us. So it is a gradual process. Luciana, and that it takes some time, just so that you don't develop false expectations, unless you are highly qualified, which is possible. So the person who is highly qualified can get results very, very fast.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I was thinking about the technique of applying the opposite thought, and thinking how in those moments when you are overwhelmed and you say, oh no, I'm whole and complete, and I say, oh yeah, but it doesn't feel like that.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes when it goes to apply the opposite thought, I have to get a little bit more particular about the situation and respond more directly to the situation with an opposite thought.
Yeah.
But the great thing about the knowledge, when you bring it up to your mind in those moments, is that it not only helps calm your mind at that point, but then there's no real tincture. Nothing, less and less remains from the action as an impression upon you for future action. And so it's like, it's resolving it in the moment more completely. You don't have to go back. It doesn't stay, you know?
Yeah.
It's a beautiful technique that I never thought to employ until I started Vedanta. It really works.
Yeah.
Arlindo, you just talk about the doer and the receiver. But now when you say that, I remember that a few days ago, I was thinking also about the enjoyer, because somewhere I heard also talking about there is a part that we can call the enjoyer.
Yeah.
Can you clarify something about that? Because maybe I was thinking about that, you know, and I thought, yeah, there is a part of me that wants to enjoy the fruits of action. Yeah. Maybe is that? Can we talk about it?
Exactly. Yeah. So in the scriptures, they present the karta as the one who does actions to enjoy its results. Nobody does action to suffer, you know. I mean, sometimes we do it, but it's unconscious. So the doer is very often, you know, equated as the enjoyer, because he's trying to enjoy life, but he's misled to believe that he's going to enjoy life to the degree that he does more proper actions. So you get to enjoy yourself doing dharmic, timely, proper, adequate actions, because you start creating more and more punya karma. But punya karma is always followed with papa, because, you know, this is duality. So sometimes you do a lot of good actions, but there are so many other factors that's bringing adverse results as well. So we say that the receiver of actions have to be a very, very strong equanimity and knowledge, you know, Nitya knowledge, Ishvara knowledge, the knowledge of the field, the understanding of this dynamic relationship between Ishvara, Jiva, and the world. So he has to have this knowledge so that he can take things literally as prasad, which is easier said than lived and done. You understand? So we need to have a lot of spiritual knowledge to receive, you know, in such an elevated state, you know, prasad, 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 prasad. Knowledge has to be very. So, and then when we give our action back to the world, if we receive it with the spirit of prasad, so when we act, we're going to act with the spirit of giving back, retribution, because we took as prasad, howsoever, even if it was a painful prarabdha karma, painful result, we understand, oh yes, so this is good. I needed it, it serves certain purpose. I mean, if nothing else, at least serves the purpose of exhausting some papa that I have in my karmic account, So, and then if we have this ability to receive what life gives us, regardless of crises and adversities, if we receive it as a gift, as prasada, and then of course we're gonna be in the mood already of enjoy, and we're gonna do an action with a spirit of joy, understand? And that is where we can enjoy doing actions, because we developed the vision and the spirit of the karma yoga. The karma yoga is giving action to the field, but he's not concerned to wait for its results whenever it fructifies to get some joy, The karma yoga enjoys the action. The joy has to come from the action, and this joy only comes from the action to the degree that I understand that my action is directly linked with my spiritual growth, my spiritual elevation. My spiritual elevation is the real gain of behind every action, It's not my material, physical, or circumstantial benefit from my action, We do actions and we want to gain some benefits, but the karma yoga understand, I receive this prasad and I give it back in a devotional kind of mood with a spirit of love and gratitude, as contributing to Ishvara, giving thanks to Ishvara, and so on. And by doing that, the karma yoga is enjoying the direct results of its action, because it's not even a result, it enjoys the action. You understand? So it becomes a real enjoyer. But generally speaking, the karta, the doer of actions, we often in the scripture, they present the doer of action as the enjoyer, is only because everybody does action, dreaming with the sweet fruits of the action. Yeah, and then we tend to forget that the fruits, when they come bitter and sweet. They don't come always as a bitter. Even if we do proper sattvic, dharmic actions, still we are dealing with some bitter results. So it comes a point that you understand that this equation of life, cause and effect, is so complex. We have no clue. We have no understanding, and the picture is too wide. You understand? That you just say, well, I can never rely on the results of my actions to live a happy life. If I rely on that, I'm done, I'm finished, I'm going to be suffering. Frustration, anger, irritation, again and again, and I'm doing so well, only good actions, and blah, blah, blah. But, this law involves all our past births, all the actions we did before we were, elevated by this spirit of karma yoga, involves the actions of the entire planet, all other people interacting, affecting everything, So, and then what's left for the karma yoga? Say, forget about relying on the results of my actions to be an enjoyer. I want to be an enjoyer as I present my actions. And I want to enjoy whatever God gives to me because, oh God, thank you. Whatever. Punya Papa, it's just what I need, because this system is intelligent design to propitiate our learning, our growing. You understand? Every moment there is a lesson to us that we can take and we can grow. And the best lesson that we can take is what? Is like I say, I have no control, but I really enjoy life and I'm so grateful for the opportunity. And if I'm getting a lot of difficult results here, difficult karmas, it means I need to begin correcting my attitude and my thoughts and my mind. I need to get re-educated about how to live life so that I don't need to deal again and again with a lot of conflicting karmas. You understand? So, and then I, instead of crying and screaming and complaining or denying God, I just go, okay, I want to begin this process of re-education. I want to educate get this spiritual education so that I can know how to behave, how to act, how to treat myself and others and all of the creatures and the plants and everything. You know, I just want to live in a way that I don't end up again and again having conflicting results, painful results. You know? Anything else about the enjoyer, Claudio? Did it cover your question?
Yes, yes. So the problem is when you put the enjoyer in the results, then you have to be on the action. This is you have to enjoy the action with the right attitude, and this is the problem with the enjoyer, right?
Yeah. So the point is that the scriptures, they call the doer of actions as the enjoyer, because every action is done with the aiming to get the positive results. But as we know, the results are not under our control. It's the control of the system. So therefore, the suggestion as a Kami Yogi is not to do action for the sake of enjoyment later on, but to do action, enjoy the action, you know, because you understand that by doing action with the spirit of contribution, retribution, adding value to the situation, you know, giving more and taking less, we become a contributor. Doing that kind of action, it elevates us. So why it's the most valuable kind of results? You know, you get the result immediately, or you don't necessarily get it immediately, because spiritual growth, spiritual elevation is a gradual and slow process of purification. But why you are getting the best possible result? Because there is nothing more valuable than peace of mind. You know, a scientific mind. So a resolved mind, a mind free from mental, emotional conflicts. You understand? So if our mind is conflicted with things, you know, fears and projections and resistance, or I don't want this, I want that, you know, why me, and so on. So if our mind is clouded with a lot of those energy, those thoughts and emotions, so we live a poor life, because we lose our ability to respond to the stimulus coming from the field in a proper way, you know, and we have this feeling of anger, irritation, depression, or you know, and mind becomes tamasic, rajasic, you know, sattva is compromised. So when we do act aligned with Dharma and with the spirit of giving back, adding value, contributing. Thank you, Lord. Here goes my action. I dedicate to you, Lord. I know that you are behind every name and form in the field. So when I act like that, so my mind is being resolved, and I start experiencing the most valuable punya, which is peace of mind, sattva karma, you know, sattva result as well. You know? So that's the most valuable thing in life. we can enjoy things, we can have all kinds of success and richness and powers. But if our mind is not, pure and calm and focused and sattvic, so the very equipment that allows us to become an enjoyer is compromised. You can have millions of dollars in the bank and all kind of power and prestige and anything. But if your very mind is already defected, damaged, so the very instrument that allows you to be enjoyer is already compromised. So you're all the time trying to get things. We want this and this because we want to be enjoyer, but in the process we destroy the mind. We can never be enjoyer. So we enjoy only to the extent that we develop this spiritual knowledge. You understand? This spiritual attitude. And we have no other way. It takes time until we understand that there is no other solution for life, There's nothing. Nothing is going to really offer us the security that we are looking for, the peace and satisfaction, that we enjoy.
When you explain all this logic of not get attached to the result and all thing, I see that I have to do some work on it because I don't have it so clear. No, I have it clear, but it's not integrated. When you talk about it, it's clear for me. It's like, yeah, it's true. But I don't have integrated.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
so little by little, we have to do the work to going back to the.
As we say in English, talking is cheap. We need to walk our talk. We need to live the life we preach. So, and that is a challenge for all of us. So that's why we say that, I say, Swami Dayananda, I read him saying in the past, and Paramarthananda and Brahmji as well, that to share this knowledge, to teach or to propagate this knowledge is the greatest possible sadhana. You understand? I remember Dayananda saying that in the earlier days, say this is the best sadhana because, I have to keep my mind all the time on the scriptures.
Yeah.
And then this knowledge becomes really clear and alive, because I'm thinking about that, because I need to share it. So therefore I have to keep my mind in it, so that I can share it the best possible way, So this is something for all of us. So one thing is to say, to talk. Another thing is to live this truth, Yeah.
And can I mention something? It feels hard sometimes not to get discouraged, because it's so deeply ingrained, just our patterns, and realizing how hard it is to break out of that. Maybe I need to look at it differently. Like it's easy to break out of this if I just keep my mind on the scriptures, but just the deep patterns of what I've been really working on is to not jump to say a cuss word, and I'm going, ooh, but that's so negative. I've got to just shift from that,
I know, I understand. Yeah. So we need to be gentle. I mean, the first thing to understand, Karen, is that when we come to a point in life that we see that nothing else works, nothing else works. You have tried everything, including psychology and so on, and nothing really works. The only thing that works is spiritual knowledge. And then it doesn't matter where we are at. You understand? It doesn't matter how young or older we are. So there is nothing better to do in life than to just to bring about our spiritual growth. You understand? Because as we grow, we develop more peace, more love, more tranquility. You know, forget about moksha, forget about, you know, this higher elevation, like this incredible Mahatmas or sages, you know, like Vedanta, that Ramji says that he has never seen somebody so beautiful, so pure. He never saw a soul so elevated, you know. It was almost like God, a God-man that came down here, you know, this concept of an avatar. It doesn't matter, we should never compare ourselves with others. And we always should stay where we're at, knowing that all I can do is to move on and up, working my humanity, you know, bring about the spiritual knowledge so that I can elevate myself as a human being. You understand? Because there is nothing more precious. There is no other activity. Once we come to this understanding, no other activity is going to fulfill me. The only thing that can really fulfill me is spiritual growth. You understand? So once we have that clear, it doesn't matter where we are at. It doesn't matter how often caught up we are on some of those vasanas and samskaras, you know, and we need to be gentle, as I was saying, because if it was up to me, I would say, okay, this vasana I don't want anymore, that vasana I don't want anymore, this one I don't want anymore. I have made up my mind. I made a declaration to the universe and I say, poof. No, this ignorance, as you said, some of this ignorance is deeply hardwired, and we need to be gentle with ourselves. We need to understand, but we need to keep in mind that I should always be trying to do my best. And then I fall short. You understand? I fall short because, I mean, every jiva is limited. You understand? But yet I'm doing my best. And then I forget it, and then I remember. I forget it, I remember. So when we come to Vedanta and we stick around for a little bit longer, it's very difficult to leave it behind. Or if we leave behind Vedanta, we may come back after a few months or a few years when we have a little bit more understanding that nothing else works. Nothing else is going to make me a happier person. A happier person comes with spiritual growth and spiritual elevation, you understand? It doesn't matter where we are. It doesn't matter how many times we're going to fall. We have to stand up and fight against ignorance, against these ignorance-based patterns or vasanas, you understand? So we need to be gentle. We never beat ourselves up. We never compare ourselves with anybody. We know that this is my nature as a jiva, and I'm working my way, you know, spiritually. And I have come to understand that there is a science of reality, a science, spiritual science called Vedanta, that can help me to move more rapidly in this process of spiritual growth, elevation. And I do my work without any concern about when I'm going to get enlightened. But who cares? I just want to know that, you know, I'm doing my best and I'm growing and putting up the best possible effort. I'm discriminating, I'm structuring my life, I'm holding on to my Vedanta. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't have that strength, okay, we go back to samsara. And then very often we come back to Vedanta again because, you know, as I said, we understood that samsara is not going to do it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Patience.
Yeah, patience and persistence.
And persistence, yes.
Yeah, determination. I say, no, I mean, doesn't matter. Let me tell you a little thing. When I was much younger, I used to have a lot of strong negative emotions that would come up in my relationships, especially with my wife. And I used to mess up things often, you know, but I was a spiritual seeker and I was serious. I was totally involved with Ramana Maharaj and Sagadatta Maharaj on those days and Papaji, and I was really, I was intense on what I could do, but I was dealing with a lot of these strong negative reactions, emotions, vasanas that he used to make confusion and conflicts in my life and so on. And I used to fall again and again and again and again and again and again, but I would never give up. I would always stand up and say, no, I don't accept a defeat here, you know. I am consciousness. I understood from what Papaji and Maharaj and Ramana said that I am consciousness and I'm free. I would stand up and say, doesn't matter how often the jiva can, you know, screw things up. I just stand up and I hold on to my sadhanas, to my meditations, or whatever I was doing on those days, you know. So we need to have a lot of this, you know, determination. You know? But we need to understand. We have to have an understanding that we need to fight in a beautiful way, like Arjuna, no? fighting ignorance. The ignorance on the other side of the field coming from Duryodhana and that section of the family, you know. So he had to fight. So we need to fight this universal ignorance, because that is the only way we're going to move towards spiritual growth and spiritual or freedom or moksha, you know.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's like we're Arjuna choosing Krishna over the army. You know?
Yeah. Very, very well put. So he chose Arjuna. He chose Krishna. So he wants the knowledge. He wants his wisdom. You know, he wants to be a sage. He wants to. That's very symbolic, but much to the point. Hi, Michael.
Hi, Orlando. I was wondering, how is the vision of non-duality not considered to be an experience?
How is the vision of non-duality not to be considered to be an experience?
Yeah.
Yeah, because self-knowledge is not a self-experience. That's why it's referred as self-knowledge, not self-experience. So what this denotes is that self-knowledge is only possible through understanding. Okay. So why is it not an experience? Because every experience is limited. Understand? It's limited by time, because every experience is bound by time. It has a beginning and an end. You know? Every experience is limited by whatsoever experience it gives to us. Pleasure or unpleasure, you know, it is somehow, it has its own elements that's going to give us a sort of emotional experience, you know. So the experience, they are very, very limited, and they don't necessarily convey us self-knowledge, even if you have an experience of non-duality. So we can have a beautiful experience of non-duality, like a vision or anything like Ramji had in the old days, but still it did not give him self-knowledge. You understand? In order to have self-knowledge, we need to really go through this process of gradually dismantle or melt or destroy this firm belief, you know, or identity in the body as the body. You know, I am the body, I am the mind. This is the fundamental problem of every human being. And how are we going to uproot this firm belief that I am the body, I am my notions, I am my emotions, so I am the body-mind complex. So how I'm going to destroy that? I have already, how many epiphanies you had already, Michael? You had a few already?
Unfortunately, no.
Okay.
I think that, yeah.
But anyhow, a lot of people have these epiphanies and they come out empty-handed, you know? I mean, they don't take the knowledge, they don't understand who they are. The case of Ramana Maharaj was a rare exception. Most people enter those epiphanies. And by the way, self-knowledge does not require any epiphany. You understand? So most people have these epiphanies and they come out of the epiphanies as ignorant as before. Why? Because they became obsessed. Their mind and the sense, everything went to the epiphany. They were interested in the, oh God, oh, this is so sublime, it's so amazing, so celestial, it's so amazing, yeah, you know? And then the whole attention goes to the epiphany, which is just a very subtle objective experience. And they never have any opportunity to assimilate self-knowledge, because self-knowledge is about rejecting any objective experience as the not self and understanding and claiming your true identity as the self, that in which all these subtle experiences come, stay for a little bit, change from a moment to a moment, and dissipates. You understand? So this shift from the object to the subject is a gradual process that is highly facilitated by the scriptures of Vedanta when presented or unfolded with the help by a teacher, you understand? Because that's the only way we can enjoy freedom. What is freedom? Freedom is to know that you're not the body-mind construct, but you are the light of consciousness. You are the light of consciousness that shines and enlivens and activate the pranas, you know, and somehow moves the body around and makes it alive, animates the body, and so on. So we are the light of consciousness. So how now we're going to pull this firm, certain identity as I, the body-mind, to I, consciousness? There is no epiphany of non-duality that will do it. So non-duality is to understand that all there is consciousness, and I am that. You understand? All there is consciousness, appearing with what? Is what? Appearing with an infinity number of names and forms. No, I mean, like the ocean with all the waves and so on. So actually ocean and all the water of the ocean appearing as the ocean, which is a superimposition, and appearing as the Jiva wave. So if the Jiva wave understands that he's the ocean, is already something, but if he understands that he's water, and then he's free from the wave and he's free from the ocean, he knows that I am water. You understand? And water is available in every corner of the universe in some form or another. You understand? So the only non-dual principle is consciousness. Conscious Satchitananda, conscious existence, existence conscious, limitless consciousness. So Sat goes for existence, Chit goes to knowledge or consciousness, and Ananta goes to limitlessness. So the nature of Brahman, which is our nature, is Sat, Chit, Ananta. So, and why it is non-dual? Because there is only Sat, Chit, Ananta, there is only Brahman, you know, the substratum, that which pervades everything. Doesn't matter how many mirage, how many projections appear, it's all not apart from my conscious existence. I mean, there is nothing can exist without this consciousness in which Things are known, things are revealed, illuminated, and known. You understand? It requires you, consciousness, existence itself. So it's non-dual because all there is me. All there is consciousness. And this can only be understood with such a clarity and certainty that the notion that I am the body-mind starts diminishing, and losing power and losing less, and has that grip it has on most human beings. You understand? So you just start letting go of that. It happens naturally as the knowledge become more and more firm. This misidentification with the body-mind, they start just going, and no, I am that which cannot be affected, cannot be touched, cannot, anything, nothing can add anything to me or subtract anything from me, because I'm the substract, I'm consciousness. I am of the nature of one without a second. That's what it means, limitless. One without a second, because there is only one. It's non-dual. You understand? So this can be understood. And once it's clearly understood, it needs to grow somehow roots in our causal body and subtle body in a way that it becomes what the scriptures call a hard and fast self-knowledge. So that every time that this dualistic universe impacts us and deludes us for a moment, this knowledge immediately corrects one's perspective and say, okay, doesn't matter because I am the substrate and all of it, And this is not an experience. This is pure knowledge. Self-knowledge is made of pure knowledge, but it has the power to change the experience of the yoni. The yoni is going to experience the world from a platform of self-knowledge, which makes the yoni's experience different. You understand? But self-knowledge is not an experience. It's made of pure knowledge. And this is a little trick. And most people in the spiritual world, they don't see the value of self-knowledge from the standpoint of Vedanta, because they believe like, oh no, this is only intellectual. Every kind of knowledge is intellectual. Every experience that we have goes through the intellect. You understand? We cannot reject the intellect. Everything goes through the intellect. And if I start interpreting my experience from the platform of my previous experience, or the platform of my projections, or whatever, I'm going to be living in a subject kind of reality that is nothing but supported by my own vasana, my own notions, because an experience is only as good as my interpretation of it, and how I'm going to interpret it with my vasanas, which are impressions of my previous experience. Understand? So self-knowledge is this direct knowledge. It's knowledge in reference to my true nature, my true identity as consciousness. And it is greatly facilitated when we follow the logic as presented by Vedanta. These scriptures of Vedanta, they were revealed by Ishvara to the jivas. And it came with the creation or manifestation. It comes like the user's manual, it came with creation. So if you really want to enjoy yourself here, try to run out after objects out there. And then when you are tired, here is the manual. Look, analyze, and then start shifting your identity from I, the body, to I, consciousness. And then once you do that, and then you start enjoying a certain level of freedom. Freedom of knowing that, you don't depend on anything, but everything depends on you. And to the degree that this knowledge is clear, you enjoy more and more this freedom. Everything depends on me. I don't depend on anybody. It appears that I depend on everything there, but the reality is that everything depends on me, consciousness, and I depend on nothing. Nothing can affect me. You understand? This is self-knowledge, which is not an experience. I don't know if it has answered your question, Michael, or if it has been of any help.
Yes, thank you.
Going back to the karma yoga, when we were talking about karma yoga, Arlindo, I was just thinking about how the three gunas correspond to attitude, and how these result in the results of the karma that comes back to us. For example, if we act in a sattvic attitude, with a beautiful, loving, open heart, not without thinking of ourselves, but thinking of everybody else, the result is also probably going to be sattvic as well. And likewise for rajasic and tamasic karmas or actions. Do you understand?
Yeah, I understand. The scriptures, there are certain teaching that classifies the actions as a sattvic, rajasic, and the tamasic action. The tamasic action is the worst action because it's going to produce terrible results. What is a tamasic action? It's an action of someone who is so down in its mind, and it feels also, a little bit depressed, and it does not really understand what's going on, but still has to do some actions, and every action is going to be messing things up a little bit because I'm totally tamasic. It's creating more and more difficulties, and so this action is all the time. It's a very self-centered action without taking into consideration the other, because the mind is so gross. The mind being as gross, the tamasic is the most dense kind of mind. Tamas is responsible for the physical material manifestation of the universe. So it's dense, it's gross. So a gross mind does not have this intellectual purity or subtlety to understand the importance of considering the others, the other creatures, the field when we act something. So a tamasic is dense, and its action is only for me, and I don't care even to follow the rules. I just want to get what I want, and I try to cheat and deceive people, and I do that, and it's going to bring about my spiritual decline. It's going to bring me down, totally down. So it's the opposite of the karma yoga attitude. The karma yoga actions is highly sattvic. It's dharmic and sattvic, beautiful action. So in between, we have the action of the rajasic people. The rajasic people, they act. Their actions are self-centered in most cases, but they somehow have energy. They have enough energy to understand that it is for the betterment of the environment of society to act in accordance with the laws and the rules of the society. So I'm going to follow the rules because I have a certain subtlety of mind that makes me act for my own sake, the sake of my family, and so on. But I don't cheat. I don't step on people. I don't hurt people. I don't want to get rich by taking the money from and making everybody poor around me. So no, I want to follow the rules. There is a certain sensitivity there, but still the actions are very self-centered. It's all about me and me and me and my family and my company and so on. But I follow the rules. Okay, I have at least that kind of discernment that no, I don't want to do action that could compromise even my civil liberties, because I can be caught, and moreover, it's not good for society. I have certain dharmic values. I go to the church on Sundays, and I want to be a righteous person to a certain extent, but I'm self-centered. Okay, this is a rajasic action. You don't grow spiritually. Why you don't grow spiritually? You grow materially. You're growing wealth and so on, but you don't grow spiritually, because we grow spirit only and only when we bring God into the equation and we begin putting our actions with the spirit of dedication to the Lord and contribution to the Lord as the field. You understand? The large mindset. So my actions now are dedicated to the Lord, have this spirit of contribution, adding value, and I begin developing the vision of Ishwara in my mind. So those actions of the Karma Yoga are the only actions that really process spiritual growth. So these actions, they are dharmic and sattvic actions. They require a mind that is more subtle, more sattvic, who has understood Ishwara as the field as well, the lawgiver, the giver of the results of everyone's karma, and I want to live in harmony with Ishwara. I want to contribute to Ishwara. I revere Ishwara. I'm grateful because he gave me life, and he gives me life every day. When I get up in the morning, I have life. So this is the highest kind of action. And that's why it's important, this Karma Yoga, because even if you get self-knowledge, you need to be a Karma Yogi naturally, spontaneously, because your self-knowledge is complete only to the extent that we understood Ishwara. We understood Mitya and how to navigate in Mitya, how to behave, how to act, and how to take the results and so on. So the Rajasic, they don't pull us down. They don't make us to decline. You know, some people, if they live a certain kind of life, they can decline to the extent of not be born again as a human being, as the scriptures say. So as a Rajasic person, I'm not really growing spiritually, but I'm just somehow there. I'm at that stage that my Rajas compels me to go for things and success, and this is okay. The Vedas, they don't condemn that, because we need to go for material success until we develop the maturity to understand that material success is empty. It's never going to deliver the sort of satisfaction and peace that we are searching, looking, fulfillment, and so on. So we need to go through this Rajasic stage of life, you understand, until we just learn it. It's difficult to find young people who have this lesson already in place. Most of the case, older people like me and some of us here, you understand? Because it takes time to develop this maturity to understand, okay, now I want to understand Krishna, I want to understand Karma Yoga, I want to understand Vedanta, and I want to live in the spirit of Dharma, you know, aligned with these natural laws, you know, knowing that the greatest value in life is my spiritual growth, my spiritual purification, my mental, emotional purification. That's what I'm aiming for. And I do that by serving the Lord. You know? So those are the three kinds of actions. And the lowest sort of action are the tamasic actions that definitely brings about terrible results. Even if someone managed to cheat and steal, like the Brazilian politicians, I like to bring the Brazilian politicians in this example because it's extremely corrupt. So even like the Brazilian politics that do not work, they go there a few times, 2 times a week. They get payments for the rest of their life, and they fill up their bank accounts in Switzerland. Meanwhile, makes everybody around them rich, stealing. So even if you have a lot of money in your account, that money is nothing, because you are suffering inside. You cannot even enjoy that money because your mind is so conflicted. It's so full of fear of being caught, fear of being exposed. There's so many guilt feelings in there for the ugly things I have been doing, you know. So the mind is destroyed, and it doesn't matter how much money one has in the bank. One is suffering. And then next time, it's going to come back to deal with a lot of even worse papakarmas, you understand? So we want to move from tamasic actions into rajasic action, and from rajasic actions gradually move into sattvic actions. I don't know if it covers your question, Mark.
Yeah, basically the point I was trying to get across is that the attitude with which we do the action and the attitude with which we receive the action is the most receive the results of the action is really the most important aspect of the action.
Absolutely.
If our attitude is correct, and the results, if we accept the results with the correct attitude, this is all we can do, really.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's the point I was trying to make.
More important than the actions is the attitude. This is very well put, Mark. It's the motive, you know, the motive, the attitude, the spirit we put the action, the spirit we receive is more important than the action itself, you know. Yeah. Because I mean, people can fake, but you can fake, you can deceive other people around you. Oh, I'm a good man, you know. I'm a philanthropist. How you say in English? Philanthrop?
Philanthropist.
Yeah, philanthropist. You know, I donate here and here. I can fake. I can deceive people. You know, there are people in our society that are appearing now as, oh, it's going to save humanity, is a philanthropist. You know, but they cannot deceive Ishwara. He may deceive a large fraction of the population, but does not deceive Ishwara. You know. So because Ishwara knows what is the intention, what is the real thing behind, you know, what is the spirit, what is the motivation, and that cannot deceive Ishwara. Yeah. So the person is going to have to deal with terrible papakarma at the end, although actions may look good to the eyes of most people, you know.
Yeah.
Very good. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, everyone. And I will work on those mantras and prayers and send to everybody together with the recording of this class. Okay? Big hug, much love, and I see you.
Thank you.
Soon again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you, Arlindo.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you, Arlindo.
Thank you, Enrique.
Yes, I know.